Happy Tuesday. Welcome back again. I'm so happy that you are here with me and I appreciate your company. If you're watching the replay, let us know. Um, so, our topic for today is how do we know what the correct diet for our goals is? The importance of tracking macros versus other methods, and how to make adjustments. All right, so we're going to make it very short, and then you can tell me your questions, and we'll come back and address those later. So, there's lots of different diets that you can use to achieve your goals, whether it's weight loss, whether it's gaining muscle, whether it's just to have a healthier lifestyle. The common thread is you have to know what you're eating. So often what we do is it's an automatic thing and we're not really conscious of what we put in our bodies. So in order to adjust your diet to properly start moving toward your goals, you need to be aware of what you're eating. There's a lot of competitor coaches. So it's a very niche, like fine-tuned, extreme understanding for a specific purpose of nutrition. But the point is that is neither here nor there. Many coaches won't work with someone unless they are willing to first track everything they put in their mouth first, so that you have an idea and you're conscious of what you're eating. And the reason behind that is if you already have no idea what you're eating and you're unwilling to look at it in black and white and take the time to see what it actually is, then you can't make fine-tuned changes that are going to be time efficient. So on the micro level, if you have very specific goals, you have to be willing to do this very accurately. If you have broader, more long-term goals, you can do it more loosely, but you have to be conscious of what you're eating. So the easiest way to do that is just have a notebook, like we've been talking about, a journal entry. And I did this for years and years and years, and it can be very effective because if you're a pen and paper person, you can go back and say, this day, this week, this month went really, really well. I was moving toward my goals. And then you can see what worked well. You can see what combinations of foods helped you achieve the goal and not be hungry. Or it worked for prepping for your schedule because it was fast and easy and you didn't have to follow long recipes. Often people ask me, do I make meal plans? I can give you meal plans for a starting point, new ideas, because I know as a mom, I get sick of always having to plan the meals. You get stuck in a rut sometimes. But I feel like when someone asks me, can I make them a meal plan for them to try to follow? We have to have a very good understanding of what they like to eat, the amount of time and effort they want to put into preparing food, whether they enjoy preparing food or often like to just eat out and not have to think about it, and budgeting. So it's difficult for a coach to make an effective meal plan that's easy to follow for someone else. It's great to be able to say, this is what your ideal day might look like for your given macros for your goals. But it's very difficult to just come up with a plan and anyone feel like that's great, I could follow that for weeks at a time. I haven't been able to, and I've been doing this for a long time. I haven't been able to do it for myself. I have to be able to look in the fridge and quickly say, okay, this is what we've got. This is how I'm going to make a healthy meal that the kids will eat and I can also eat too, because I'm not all about preparing myself something separate. So that's their challenge. That's our challenge, is to get to a point where you understand how to adjust the things that your family likes to eat, the things that you can prepare quickly and integrate without it feeling like you're trying to change everything all at once. When I started my nutrition journey for weight loss, it was after Felicity was born, my fourth child. And at first, it felt very cumbersome to write everything down, but it started to make it feel easy because I would look back and I'd say, oh, I still have what I ate yesterday and I wasn't hungry. I followed the plan. I ate the right amount of each macro and I can see results over time. If I look back over the week, the average of the week is kind of what we're looking for. So in general, assuming most people watching have weight loss goals, you have to be in a deficit, a caloric deficit over the week. So you can make it so that maybe at first weekdays are easy to work on, and the weekends, it's okay if you've been in that conservative, little more than like a stricter conservative deficit on weekdays, because that's the majority of the 7 days over the week. And then weekends, you have some meals that aren't as well planned. They're a little freer. Maybe you know you're going to go to a party or you're going to have drinks with friends. So it doesn't mean go hog wild on the weekend. Keep your goals in mind. But when you have this proactive planning that's part of your habits, it makes it a lot easier to have those choices in the back of your mind already. And you start to think differently a little bit about what you're going to eat. Just to, if you know you're going to a party, maybe earlier in the day, you want to make sure that you're not hungry when you arrive at the party if you don't know what's going to be served. And maybe you eat your lean proteins and lots of fruits and vegetables earlier in the day and save those starchy carbs if you know you're going to have drinks, because that's kind of a trade-off. Alcoholic drinks kind of come out of your carbs for the day, but you don't want to show up hungry and not having eaten nutritious food before you go to a party. So that planning process, when you're used to writing everything down, you have a routine that includes that, it makes it a lot easier to make adjustments. So a good question that was in our WhatsApp group this week was about proteins. What's a good amount of protein to have in your diet? And this goes for anyone who has an active, healthy body, who doesn't have aversions. I know I've had certain cases where people can't eat a lot of protein, and there are diets that will also work for your goals with specific health concerns. But in general, a healthy body needs about 8/10 to 1 full gram, or even 1.1, 1.2 full grams of protein per pound of body weight. And if the goal is weight loss, then that number may be a little bit lower, closer to your goal body weight. So when I adjust macros up and down, depending on whether I'm trying to gain muscle or lose fat, my protein stays pretty much static. And it takes a little bit to really figure out what your ideal amount is, because protein helps you feel full. So if you feel like you're dieting or you're trying to lose fat, then you want to make sure if you're hungry, maybe you need to add a little bit more lean protein, more than that suggested amount for a set amount of time, so that you're not feeling hungry and then eating unhealthy snack foods. It kind of, it fills in that deficit. You want to make sure that you're keeping the deficit over that weekly average. And that deficit is created by your body's baseline needs. And you have to consider the size of your body, so how tall you are, your age, and your activity level. And then we try to figure out what a close number within range to what your body is burning. And then we just take that number down by a few hundred calories. Maybe 200 calories is enough when you average over the week. because over 7 days, if you're consistent, you're going to start losing a healthy amount of body fat. All right, so I can't wait to hear your questions. And one other thing I wanted to mention was I love taking favorite recipes and making them fit my macros. So my sister gave me this great recipe for orzo pasta salad. And right now I'm going into a cutting phase. I haven't started yet, but I'm starting to track my meals again. I'm starting to be more focused on not going over what my body's dietary needs are for building muscle frivolously. Meaning just things that like the kids are eating. If there's donuts that come into the house, or cake, birthday cake, or ice cream, all those treat things that are a pain in the neck to track, right? So think about, is it worth it? Am I going to enjoy it enough to balance out the time that it's going to take to track that? And does it fit my goals? So my sister has this great orzo pasta salad, and I decided I want the pasta. I'm not cutting the pasta, but it was swimming in oil in the bottom of the bowl. So I was like, I know I can cut the oil because I don't need that much fat. I like to eat cheese and nuts and all the other healthy fats too, avocado. And if the pasta is swimming in oil, then I know I'm not going to get everything else that I want to eat in the way of healthy fats during the day. It's not the only fat that I want to eat. So I ended up cutting the olive oil from 2 tablespoons per serving, which olive oil is healthy. It's a good healthy fat. But you can still have the delicious flavor, texture, everything with 1 teaspoon of olive oil. It wasn't quite as slippery, like not swimming in oil by the time you get to the bottom of the bowl, but I kept the cup of pasta. I cut the chickpeas. So my sister doesn't eat a lot of protein, and she was thinking that the chickpeas were the protein. And basically, the chickpeas and the pasta were almost equal when it came to protein. So, and pasta has egg in it. So there's about 7 grams of protein in 1 serving of pasta in a cup. But generally, I would eat a half cup. So instead of putting a half cup of chickpeas on top of a cup of pasta, I put a 1/4 cup because I wanted to keep it kind of with the original recipe. Next time, I'll probably leave out the chickpeas and just add chicken. And what actually I was surprised about was the feta cheese had more protein than both the pasta and the chickpeas put together. So really, within this recipe that had no meat, it did have feta cheese. I used reduced fat feta cheese, and that was significant protein. So the total recipe, I still had 1 egg white I chopped up and put on top, and the vegetables. But I cut the fat out of the original recipe from, it was something crazy, like 24 grams of fat down to 10, I think, is what it came out to in the end. It was delicious. And I got the whole bowl of pasta just like I had when she made it, just a little bit altered. So if you have recipes that have lots of things mixed together, I try to keep it down to like 5 or 6 ingredients. This recipe was not that. But you can always find ways that doesn't detrimentally change the recipe. It just adjusts it to fit your goals. All right, happy tracking. Let me know if you use MyFitnessPal. We can become pals. I feel like now that's the easiest way if you're tracking macros, which is the most accurate way to make adjustments. But starting with a journal, writing everything down, that's step 1. Let me know how you're doing, and I'll see you next Tuesday. Bye, guys.